Hi, this is Miss Mecca for BigShinyRobot.com, and we are here with some of the very awesome voice actors and creative cast as well from Dragon Ball Z. We are here today with Sean, and with Chris, and of course with Justin.
Hi.
So thank you guys so much.
Thank
you guys so much for joining us today. We're super psyched to have you, and as it's the 15th anniversary of Dragon Ball Z on North American television, you guys must be pretty excited about that. Could you tell us a little bit about how you first got involved with Dragon Ball?
I'm going to let you guys go because I was
okay. I'll start first because I started first.
Go with chronological.
Okay.
First.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was like in an astronomy class in college, and I got a text message from...
There was no text messaging in 1990.
Oh, well, it was a form of text message formerly known as a page, back in, like, the early 1800s, and when I was in a class, and it said, hey, do you want to audition for this Japanese cartoon that I'm working on? It was from this girl named Carly Hunter, who's now, like, you know, the god of all things out at Funimation. But back then she was just a college student too, just kind of working at Funimation in their spare time. And I said, well, let's see, I'm going to school for radio, television, film, job in radio, television, film. What should I do? I opted to go to the audition. I got this audition for this one little show called, it was a Dragon Ball movie, a one-off movie called Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle.
Cool.
And we recorded that, and then about 2 months later, I got a call from Barry Watson, the producer there at the time, who said, we're going to be making this show here in Fort Worth, and I'm curious if you'd like to kind of help us like cast and maybe, you know, do some direction on the show or whatever. And that's where it started, and then we put this ad in the paper.
Which I saw. Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah. That's where we found Sean. We had to, like, at the time, like, they didn't know Dragon Ball Z was going to be a success. All they knew was, like, 300 episodes long, and it was going to be extremely expensive to pull in, like, actors. And so, and the agents didn't know what to do about it. Like, the agents didn't understand it either. They didn't understand kind of what rates were even at the time. So they were like, no, I don't think that's going to be possible. And plus, I think even if we'd found agency people at that time, they wouldn't have known what to do either. So we thought, well, just build the cast ourselves. So we put up flyers, and we had like stuff in the newspaper. And Sean actually replied to that ad in the newspaper.
Well, you want me to?
Like, that's where mine starts. So
okay.
Because this is where he can tell the story about pretty much the rest of it.
You know, I was not an actor. I studied a little acting in college. I was a professional classical musician, and I had a studio of about 30 students. I was playing French horn in the Dallas area and different orchestras, and I had done voices my whole life, and I did it at parties a lot, and I was working at a marionette theater, not doing voices. I was doing the puppets, and then they would record me doing the voices, and then they would play the voices. We pre-recorded the whole show, and then I would marionette to my own voices, along with other cast members, et cetera, et cetera. And a friend of mine saw an ad in the paper, an actress, and she's like, you got to check this out. You should go do this. I'm like, nah, I just want to be a French horn teacher. It's fine. I don't want to do that. I'm fine. I'm cool with that. And like, no, you need to do this. So I called Chris. Actually, he still has that same phone number. I called Chris because he's working Funimation. I was like, yeah, I want to audition. I show up. They had us, audition. And then I called him like every day for 2 weeks after that. It was really great. I agree.
He called every day, hoping that he didn't even care about Goku. He was actually a little upset when he got the part of Goku because he was hoping to be Captain Ginyu.
Because I thought I nailed that. I was like, man, this is gonna be awesome. Because I thought I might have gotten Captain Ginyu or maybe Yamcha. I didn't even think about Goku. I just did it. I did the part, I did the screams, did the fight reacts, whatever. And I'd always been a really good mimic my whole life, and I'd always loved mimicking voices all the time. I mean, I do it all the time. I turn the volume down on TV and make up voices. So and I stayed a little acting in college, but then Chris is like, well, sorry, you didn't get Ginyu. You're gonna be Goku. And I go, well, are you sure? I mean, I argued after he gave me the part. I argued with him. So then I go to my first day of recording, and I'm walking through the hallway of Funimation. There's all these pictures of Goku up, and I'm like going, wait a second, this might be a good thing. And then after about the first few takes, as a barrier, you said, you're the lead on this show. And I'm like, oh. So it all sank in, and I was like, this is awesome. And then, the rest is, history, as they say.
And so Funimation got on TV. The Dragon Ball got on TV, and things were going really well. They needed more and more people, and then so they expanded the search not just for actors, but for more like production people, and that's where Justin actually comes in, right?
Yeah, I was working a not very glamorous job at all.
He was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar. No,
that might have been better. But no, I was working a construction job, you know, factory kind of thing, and waking up at 4:30 every morning to go do this. And one of my friends had said, "You've got to stop doing that and go to this place and you know, ask for a job here. Surely you'll get it. I just got a job there." So I went up and asked for a job.
Evan, right?
Yeah, that was
Evan Jones, yeah.
Who mixed all of the episodes of DBZ. And but anyway, I went in to interview, got the job, loved being able to go back to the factory I worked and go, guys, I'm not going to come to work tomorrow. I'm going to go make cartoons. That's what I'm going to do.
In a way,
so,
DBZ kind of was sort of like an assembly line process when you came into work there.
That's
I mean,
true. And it took about a month and a half, and then I realized at Funimation, and having a few conversations where Chris says, "You have got to be here on time."
I'm the one that's allowed to be late, not you.
But it took about a month and a half for me to realize that this wasn't just another job, that I had found myself into something that, you know, was going to last for a while.
I don't know about you guys, but for me, as you know, I thought I was going to be like, I was really set on being a professional hornist forever, and I made that decision in the 7th grade. And even as a kid, I was always into Rich Little and you know, all different kinds of personalities, Bill Cosby. When I first stepped in the booth, I was like, it really felt like home. It really was like, this is where I need to be. This is absolutely where I need. And I didn't think my job, because I liked my career at the time, could get any better. And it was just like, holy crap, this is the.
When I first stepped in the booth, it felt kind of like my dorm room, actually.
It was about the same size.
Because the dorm room that I had when I was in college was unair conditioned and really small.
Were you in Bruce Hall?
Yeah.
That's where I was. I was in Bruce Hall. What wing?
D.
I was in D325.
Whoa.
Bruce Hall.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's before they had air conditioning.
Yeah. They switched the D and the D.
Do we go in the front or we go upstairs?
Well, they switched the girls and guys halls.
Yeah, they did.
I was in D200 actually.
Oh, you were down. Okay, I know where you were.
One below.
Yeah.
It was a music.
Holy crap, we're both Bruce.
It was a music dorm.
That's like a big deal in North Texas. The Bruce Hall is like the legendary, like where the artists are, all the crazy artists are.
Yeah.
So if you're in Bruce Hall, that's the shit.
Yeah, unair conditioned, all music students, and they had no courtesy hours. So there was like horn students, all the time.
Oh, my roommate was a drummer, and then I'd play a Mozart horn concerto, and he'd lay down a beat, and I'm playing, and so he'd play, and then it was crazy.
And he lived next door. So.
Jamming out at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it was a really awesome dorm. I love Bruce Hall. It was great.
That's awesome.
It was true.
And I mean, back then, if you guys don't mind me asking you, it was, I mean, pretty much as many people told me, the Wild West of anime voice acting. It was all just getting started in America. And,
oh, yeah.
I mean, how do you guys feel about how it's, I mean, it's really changed from pretty obscure to, you know, it's super mainstream. It's exploded now. I mean,
you know, Pokemon really broke the door open on that, and then Dragon Ball Z rode that wave, and I think took it to a whole new level. And I think what really made the difference, and this is why I'm such a fan of technology. What really made the difference is advances in cheap digital audio recording technology, especially video compression. But we were chasing tape for a while. But once Pro Tools, you know, you could do. That's why you don't see a lot of dubs of old anime. They could have done this in the 70s, but it's just way too expensive to do it with tape, like audio tape. And the advent of Pro Tools and faster computers, you know. I mean, you look at guys like
I also think there was a time. I think there was an attitude change about animation too, because when we first got into this, like there were cartoons, and then there was Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z to some degree. And those were like cartoons too, technically.
Yeah.
But
anime was a weird thing.
It was called Japanimation.
Yeah, they called it Japanime or
And so the big difference now, as opposed to then, is that when we first went to conventions, I mean, there's always been people who love Dragon Ball Z, and there's been always people who respected us for what we did, but there are far few people who hate us for doing what we do. Because when we first started doing this, like Funimation had gotten the show, and we were all just sort of learning, and the original dub wasn't necessarily as true to the original series as it could have been, because we didn't have the right translations, we didn't have the staff.
And producers didn't know, well, what will American audiences be like? Hey, so, and Pokemon had led the way with like, we're going to really, really Americanize this and make it like it was made in America, you won't even be able to tell the difference. And in doing so, they had to change a lot of the Japanese, and I think Funimation was I don't know.
Well, that's what they
taking that lead.
had to do.
Yeah.
So, but now since we've gone back and we've kind of fixed all those problems, and we've gone back, and it's over the years we've seen more people get upset when our voices get changed. And when something happens that's not the way they remember it from when we first started doing it, whereas opposed to
we've even had people saying, I hate to say this because I'm a huge fan of honoring the original Japanese actors who sometimes will like our voices or our work better than that. I'm like, I don't even want to go there because they are the original, cast, and so I don't even like to hint at that, but it's extraordinarily flattering when they will say, you're the only guy that can play this, or you're the only guy that can do this. And I know when I got on it, I didn't know how long the series was, but I knew when I got on it, and even after I moved to New York, I was really, really adamant about not losing the role because I moved and because Funimation wasn't keen on that at first, and now they let actors fly in and stuff, and it's a much more flexible system now, which I'm really happy about. But I was really keen on that because when I was a kid, I didn't like it when voices got switched up. I didn't like it. I stopped watching football because they would trade players. I'm like, that's not my team anymore. I'm not watching. I don't even watch football since the 70s. I won't even fucking watch it. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, but I won't watch it because that's not my team anymore. So that's one reason I want it to be my team. With the exception of recent cast changes, which I was actually really happy about, which I thought were really appropriate changes, and I've been thrilled with Chris and Monica and Colleen's performances.
Nice. Yeah, and I was going to ask you guys about Kai, because of course it's bringing it to a whole new generation. But then of course many of us, I've watched it since I was little kid. I've loved Dragon Ball Z, watched all of it. Now I'm going back and watching Kai, and I'm really enjoying that edit as well. And how do you guys feel about being able to go back to your characters again and do it with this new edit?
It's awesome.
Well, we really have, to some degree, we have Justin to thank for that, because he fought really hard to get our voices on that show. There was a lot of controversy at first when Kai came over as to what voices were going to end up on the series, and whether I guess they could have done it a cheap way and just edited our original footage together in some janky way. But I know that Justin and Carly and a lot of people fought really hard to
I didn't know that.
Because it was an expensive ordeal. It wasn't a cheap thing to kind of they had to rewrite every episode and re-time code every episode and re-voice every episode and remix every episode, right?
It would have been it would have been time consuming on the part of editors and engineers, but to go back in the older episodes and pull those lines in and then do a few pickup lines where it was applicable would have probably been physically a better way to approach it. But Kai was kind of this new retelling of the story, and so here was this opportunity for all of us who had been there for 15 plus years to kind of go back and do the Dragon Ball Z that we've always wanted to do.
Nice.
So that's what this was.
Justin felt like that old, grizzled kind of military commander where you sat me down the first time. It's like, I'm going to send you back in. One last mission. It's going to be a hard one. You've been there before. You're the only one that can do it. It's expensive.
Sean actually just brought this up on the way over, but Chris sends me an email of Sean and him holding the last script of Dragon Ball Z with, kind of an expression on their face like, this is the last time we're ever going to do it.
And then it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes.
It really is. It's really, and you know what really trips me about the whole thing? When I first got on the show,